Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and today we're going to have a fun speculation video. We're going to try to guess, to the best of our ability anyway, what 15 cards we think are going to show up in the upcoming From the Vault Transform product. Now, if you're not familiar with the product, it comes out November 24th. It consists of 15 specially foiled cards, and the retail price is $34.99. Unfortunately, though, it is hard to find this product at that retail price. Typically, if you look at what's happened in the past, usually you're spending more like $50 to $80 for the product typically, so keep that in mind. Now, I did mention the special foiling process. Unfortunately, that's a downside for a lot of players, because even though it looks pretty cool, if you've never seen these before, they're foiled, but they are very glossy, almost shiny as well. But that process also leads to card warping. Usually they're already warped coming out of the box, which when you're spending the amount of money you might be spending on a product like this is not going to feel good, that you're going to have to try to press these cards back into shape sometimes. So a lot of players, just because of that, shy away from this product and from these singles, but others do enjoy the look of them and just like to put them in their cubes. This to me feels like a very cube-centric product, great for cube players, maybe commander players. Now, with that being said, quickly before we get into our 15 card speculation, just want to throw out a quick reminder. If you're looking for a way to help support what we do here at the channel, just check out the description below. You'll find links to our Patreon page, and there's information below as to how you can get your hands on one of these classic art tokens. Actually, both of these. If you're a silver or gold patron, we just created the treasure token. We're still giving out the angel token as well. Also below, you'll find some product links for Amazon, where if you make any purchases via those links, no matter what it is, we'll get a small percentage back. And finally, Flipside Gaming has offered a promo code for our viewers where you can pre-order Iconic Masters or pick up anything you really need there, which is pretty awesome of them. So with that being said, let's get into it. We're going to start off with our first card today. We'll go in color pie order. And our first card, Archangel Avacyn, which transforms into Avacyn the Purifier. So when I tried to pick the 15 cards here, I was thinking about cards that had some sort of impact on gameplay, whether it was a good showing for a period of time in Standard, or even beyond that, cards that did well in Eternal formats, Modern, Commander, Cube. And I do think Archangel Avacyn fits the category of she had a pretty big showing during her day in Standard. On top of that, great card to showcase the lore. Awesome character with some really interesting character development that occurs in the card. I think this one has a good chance of showing up. Okay, next I chose a couple of the split cards. One being Bruna, the Fading Light, and of course the other one being Gisela, the Broken Blade. And together they form Rosella, Voice of Nightmares. So, first off, I want to say this. Arguably, these two cards had a smaller impact on gameplay than maybe any of the other cards we're going to look at today. Now, Gisela, she had her moments in Standard from time to time, but ultimately, the other cards you're going to see probably had a bigger impact, just generally. However, I'm going to say this about the cards. I think they have a good chance of getting there because they showcase something very unique. And it is something that Wizards has mentioned in the description of the product, that they're trying to show us all the different things that these transform cards can do, try to show some unique cards. Well, there's nothing more unique than these two, most likely, right? And I don't think they can really pass up the chance to present these in the special foiling process, the big split card, like super foiled out. I feel like it's going to be in there. Alright, next is a no-brainer in my opinion. Delver of Secrets, which of course becomes Insectile Aberration. This almost has to be here. People are going to be very surprised, myself included, if it is not. This is a common from Innistrad, but when you think Transform cards, this is definitely one of the probably top two that you think of. And it's because this card had its day, of course, in Standard, but more importantly, this is seen play in Pauper, Vintage, Modern, Legacy. This card is huge, even to this day, so no surprise that this almost has to be in there. Jace Vryn's Prodigy, which of course transforms into Jace Telepath Unbound. So one of the Magic Origins transform cards, and really, if you don't know the history of transform cards, there's not a lot of places you can go to find them. Basically, it's Innistrad, Dark Ascension, Magic Origins, Shadows over Innistrad, and Eldritch Moon, and of course, most recently, Ixalan. I didn't choose any Ixalan cards, don't think they'll have them there. But this is one of the Magic Origin cards, and this is, of course, the most iconic of the 5 Planeswalkers that begin as legendary creatures and turn into Planeswalkers. Jace was huge in Standard back in his day. If you didn't play during that time, let me tell you, this card was $60, $70 sometimes at different points in its lifespan, even a little more than that. But since then, the card, has fallen off a little bit. Now, during its heyday in Standard, it was even seeing play in some of the Eternal formats in Modern, just because people were trying out in other places because it was so successful in Standard. That's kind of fallen off for the most part nowadays. But the card is still just very iconic and classic. And again, I think when you think Transform cards, this is probably right in your top 3 or so. And because of that, I think this is almost an auto include in the product. Now, Jace does still see play in Frontier. So for you folks that play Frontier, you're probably really familiar with this card. Next, I chose Ludwig's Test Subject, which transforms into Ludwig's Abomination. Now, this card is awesome in Commander, and I think I pointed this out as maybe an underutilized Commander card recently in one of the Picks of the Month videos. So I think this is a good opportunity for Wizards to showcase this card. Financially, you're going to need some lower-end cards in this product, or at least they put some lower-end cards in this product anyway. But this is actually a good card that isn't necessarily super expensive, but is still a fun card to play with. And I love playing this in Commander because you can just simply put this down. If you have a way to generate a lot of mana, you quickly get a 13/13 trample creature, and also the lore is pretty awesome too here. Thing in the Ice, which transforms, of course, into Awoken Horror. Now, this is a card that's not too old again, of course, this one being from Shadows over Innistrad, but this is kind of a fan favorite card. Now, you could argue it never perhaps reached its potential in Standard while it was there. It had its moments in the sun here and there, not just in Standard, but even in some other formats occasionally. But I do think because of the excitement around this card that it did generate, and because there's still a lot of people trying to brew stuff with it and play with it, maybe in cubes or more casually, I think this one could make it. Next one, Bloodline Keeper, which transforms into Lord of Lineage as we move into black. Now, of course, this has been the season of Tribal, right? Especially this fall. We got the Commander 2017 decks. We have a Tribal-based dual deck coming out. Ixalan is Tribal based. Then we go into Rivals of Ixalan as we go into next year. So Tribal is a huge consideration right now. And that Commander 2017 Vampire deck was very popular. And one of the more popular upgrades to that deck was this card right here. In fact, this card went up in value quite a bit over the last few months because of that reason. So I think it would be an awesome include here. It kind of fits in with the theme that Wizards has had this season. Duskwatch Recruiter, which transforms into Krellin Horde Howler. Okay, again, financially not a huge card. I mean, this was an uncommon in Shadows over Innistrad, but I do think it had a pretty big impact in Standard during its time, and it was also a bomb in Limited whenever you got a chance to play with it. Because of that, I think it's still a card that a lot of players hold close to their hearts, and just for that reason alone, I think it's got a shot. Garrick Relentless, which transforms into Garrick the Val Cursed. I feel like this is another strong possibility, just because it was the first transforming Planeswalker. It's a very unique card again. It has 2/0 abilities. Basically, it has to damage itself to be able to transform. Has some really cool abilities on the other side too. And it was the first of its kind, super unique. And of course, again, lore-wise, a lot of players interested in what's going on with Garrick. So why not tease a little bit, throw this in there. Next, we have Mayor of Averbruck, which transforms into Howlpack Alpha. And again, we're talking a lot about Tribal recently. Here's another good example of that. We have a Human Lord on one side, becomes a Werewolf Wolf Lord on the other. It's actually a really sweet card. I love the lore behind it and just the storyline the card tells. And I think it's super sweet. It could show up in the set, perhaps. Next, I have Nissa Vastwood Seer, which transforms into Nissa Sage Animist. Quite honestly, I'd love to see all 5 of these Magic Origins Planeswalkers show up in a product like this. I just don't think that's going to happen. So I tried to be a little more realistic with my picks, and this is the second final one that I chose, even though they all would be great inclusions, and I wouldn't be sad to see all 5 of them show up, quite honestly. But this one in particular, after Jace probably saw the most play and still does see a little bit of play out there too. And I just think overall, just power level wise, this is a really fine card. Huntmaster of the Fells, which transforms into Ravager of the Fells. Alright, this card was a powerhouse in Standard back in its day when it came out in Dark Ascension. And of course, Channel Fireball had a ton of success with this card and really put it on the map. So it was big in its day. We haven't seen a reprint of it, so it feels like it's time. And yeah, maybe it's not a card that has a huge influence on, say, Modern or Vintage or Legacy or anything like that, but I think it's a great Commander card still, and it's awesome in cubes. Elbrus the Binding Blade, which transforms into Withengard Unbound. Now this is a card that when it came out as a mythic rare in Dark Ascension, not a lot of people paid too much attention to, but since then it has built some support as a really good commander card. As a matter of fact, the card's not cheap. Like a regular version will run you $5 or so, a foil will run you about 12, so it feels like it could be an inclusion just for that set of players there. But even beyond that, it's unique. It's an artifact that is like a cursed artifact that turns into this demon, and again, lore-wise, and just because of the uniqueness of the card, I think it makes the cut. And the last card, it's another unique one, Westville Abbey, which of course transforms into Ormondel, Profane Prince. Now this one's a land, and again, this is a card that was very powerful in Standard basically through its whole lifespan, and is still a good card in other formats today. So couple that with the fact that it's a land that transforms into a creature, I think it makes the cut and shows up here. Alright, with that being said, those are the 15 cards I picked. Now, again, my criteria was I was trying to be realistic for what you can expect to see in a product like this, considering the retail price technically is $34.99, and I was also trying to be realistic as to what they've done in the past with these products. Usually there's a couple big marquee cards, and then there's a lot of other cards, or maybe mid-range or smaller cards, but they all just have at least some sort of gameplay implications for certain formats. But I do feel generally From the Vault is really about cubes, maybe Commander a little bit too, but this feels like their annual cube product to me. If you want to build your cube out, trick it out, add some new stuff maybe you didn't have before, you pick up one of these every year and you advance your cube a little bit every single year. And I think when you think of it that way, this is actually a pretty cool product. Now, a lot of players, like I said, don't like the foiling process and such, and that can lead to some issues, especially if you can't get the cards to unbend and you want to play them in a tournament or something like that. There could be some problems. Hopefully they get that fixed at some point. Probably won't be this time, but at least in the future it'd be nice to see. But with that being said anyway, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on what you'd like to see included in this product, generally how you feel about the product, or really anything regarding it. So until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.